Hello, my name is Mackenzie and I'm autistic and an ADHDer, and this is my YouTube channel, Autistic Musings. Now, on my channel, we discuss definitions of autistic terms, unique solutions to uniquely autistic problems, and I share my own personal experience as an autistic person. Now, today if you noticed in the background, I have a lot of spoons for some reason. We're going to discuss the spoon theory and how it relates to autism. Welcome back, all my returning viewers, and if you're new here, welcome as well. Now, I left off with spoon theory. Now, some of you have heard of this before, some of you have not. The spoon theory is a common analogy used for many people with disabilities, mental illnesses, and those with autism, which is a neurological developmental disorder. That long word, to explain the energy they exert every day is limited and different than other people. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, the person that created this theory is named Christine Miserandino. I don't think I'm saying their name right, but I'll put it below and there'll be an article that she wrote. Now, she was explaining lupus and living with lupus to one of her friends, and she came up with the spoon theory. Now, how she chose to explain this to her friend is how I'm going to try to explain this to you now. Now, I want you to imagine that for every bit of energy that you exert throughout the day, a spoon represents that. Now, I want you to imagine that you woke up and you had 12 spoons. Now, just stay with me on this. Now, every task costs you a certain amount of spoons, some more than others. And for an autistic person, there are certain tasks that cost a lot more spoons than it does for other people to exert energy. Now, people that don't have autism, don't have all of these mental illnesses, and don't have any disabilities, you guys kind of have an unlimited amount of spoons, and you guys get to recharge quickly. Not so much for us. Now, what do I mean by that? So, let's say you're just getting up in the morning. Now, that cost you a spoon. You just got up in the morning, got out of bed, and went over and started to get ready. The getting dressed then cost a spoon too. That especially for an autistic person with textural sensitivities, what you wear will not feel the same on a day-to-day basis. So you might have to change your clothes a few times. And figuring that out and what you're going to be able to handle that day costs you an extra spoon. So you've gotten up, you've gotten ready, you put your clothes on. Oh, hygiene activities cost a spoon too. I may explain that to you at a later date, but lots of sensory sensitivities, that costs you a spoon too. You've just gotten ready for work and you're already 3 spoons down and you have 12 spoons. You're starting to get the idea. Obviously, by the end of your day, you're going to run out of spoons if you don't choose to conserve wisely. You're going to be either completely out, or you're going to have to make choices between different activities on what you're able to finish throughout the day. Now, you want to reserve spoons. This is what a lot of people with mental illness and autistic people and people, ADHDers, they all have to reserve spoons. Because if they don't, there's this thing called chaos in life. They may end up using them all before the end of the day, and there's certain things that have to get done by the end of the day, like going to work, doing like important adult things that if you don't do them, there's severe life consequences for not doing them. And you become a pretty calculating person with your energy. You only spend it on people that are your absolute priority in life. Like, I spend a lot of spoons. My sister gets a lot of spoons. My niece gets a lot of spoons. They automatically get a lot of spoons. And certain activities like this video right now, I spend a lot of energy on this, and I reserve my energy throughout the day for this activity. And all the planning that goes into a video, and actually setting up for the video, and then practicing for the video, and those types of things, creating a script. You're noticing that I do a lot of things for this video, and I explained last week, there'll be a little thing above to the video that I made last week about how much social interaction takes out of me. And social interaction costs a lot of spoons. If I do too much of it throughout the day, a lot of the most basic tasks in my day will not get done because I've dumped every spoon into one activity, and that's not a good strategy to have. Now, a lot of times, what happens if somebody like me, an autistic person, uses too many of their spoons in one go, and we're approaching maybe one or two? I'm gonna call this meltdown, shutdown, overstimulated zone right here. Like, let's say I only have like 2 spoons left. I'm feeling very overstimulated by this point, and if I use these 2, I might have a shutdown or a meltdown. And if I completely use all spoons up that are in my reserve, and I borrow spoons from tomorrow that I'm going to use for that activity, and I run on empty, I'm going to get burned out, and that's a terrible idea. It's not great, because you notice that all of these little things that I'm saying, if I extend my energy too much, I'm going to have to pay for it later. My energy is limited, and there are things that need to be prioritized in my life, and this is what happens with a lot of people with disabilities, autistic people, ADHDers, those with mental illness. They have to calculate what they're gonna spend their spoons on, what they're gonna put their energy into. And if they expend too much energy and they use up all their spoons, they're gonna pay for it. That's why if you happen to get a lot of this person's time or energy, and they spend a lot of time with you, they're spending a lot of spoons on you, and they really care about you because you're a priority, and they're putting a lot of their energy into you. They have a limited capacity and limited amount of spoons, and you get a lot. So I suppose the ending of this video is that if you're getting a lot of this person's time and they seem to drop things and do spontaneous things, which are extra spoons, by the way, you're awful special. And there's a certain prioritization that comes as an autistic person, as an ADHDer, as somebody with a mental illness. I have generalized anxiety disorder too, so lots of spoons going around, and I have to reserve energy for other activities because I don't want to reach the point of where I have a meltdown, where I have a shutdown. I don't want to enter that burnout state because, well, it sucks, and many other reasons other than that, it's very distressing. And I seek to avoid that by reserving energy. And when I know that I'm approaching an overstimulated state, any state that I know is like the precursor to these 3 things, burnout, meltdown, shutdown, I have to choose to take something off and reserve my spoons, because if I don't, I'm going to pay for it. So that's my explaining the spoon theory and how we use it. It's an excellent way, an analogy, if you have somebody in your life that has a disability, a mental illness, or a neurological developmental disorder, which, yes, invisible disability is what that's categorized. And it's an excellent analogy to use with this person to understand from their perspective how much energy a task takes for them away, and how much energy they're using for each task. It's an excellent way to eventually plan out your day and be able to reserve more energy and not overextend yourself in ways that you'll pay for later. Now, if you enjoyed the topic of this video and you would like to see more of me, one, I appreciate you. Also, why don't you press the like button? If you want to see more of me, subscribe and share the video if you have somebody you want to share it with. Thank you for your time. I hope to see you next week.